Okay, so time to consider what actually happens here. And what actually happens here is material is written as a pung. How do I do that again though? I think that well, first off, I don't think there's anything material about doing it. I think I take up fix maps. Yeah, look, set texture, get texture. What do I actually do to init the materials here? Oh, I just say new G material. And in general, G material new texture.load. Right. Right. So okay, right, hang on a sec. So first off, load up textures. Let's have a look at this. Texture. Texture. Load. Paste pixmap. That's the bad boy I want. Oh, I see. No, paste pixmap puts the pixmap into a texture. So let's also look at pixmap and std graphics. Okay. Right, I realise what I do in the GUI is I just save the pixmap, then load it as a texture. That's not what I want. I want a... I have a feeling that if I go to pixmap... Oh no, pixmap, so paste pixmap to the pixmap. Get cube face, load normal, color texture, flat normal, modified, bind, validate, stuff I don't know much about. Open texture. Opens it with a path. I am so certain that there's a way. Let me have a quick look back in this. What was it? Uniforms is a new uniform block, set texture text 0. Yeah. Uniform set texture image texture string. So I'm just doing this simple little bit of really what a Mojo does. This was part of, oh god, even the reason I do this is kind of lost in this previous project I was working on. But I am going to have to figure out a way, because what I want to do is load this. I want to load the pungs as textures, as materials, because I want to display them the same way that in GUI classes in GDraw I use in material uniforms. I plan to use material uniforms to pass into the draw operation. But in order to do that, like I can load the pung to a material, but once it's on the material, once it's on the material, how do I get it off? Oh, well, there's a thing called managed pixmap, which is a property of a texture, and it returns a pixmap. That's what I'm going to have to do. That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm disconcerted by the fact there's no document remark, but what I really need is material, get texture, do that, but I need to pass it to well, what if I just do material, get texture, managed, what did it, pixmap, pixmap, save, file name, with an extra A there. Maybe I'll just give that a moment and see if it thinks it's a valid thing to do. Yeah, it does. Wow. So here again it's just material, get texture, managed pixmap, save fn. Okay. And load. Come to the conclusion that these lambdas really shouldn't be tabbed much at all. My instinct is to stick them out there with the rest of it, but and I don't know if giving them an extra tab makes it more or less clear. Anyway, so load. It's basically going to be a new file requester, isn't it? Load.png image. Open is more sensible, is it? I don't know. And again, I will say output directory. Do I just say dit? Pick types. Lambda. And this, wow, receives a file name string. I didn't realize that that's the way it did. Well, no, I did realize it, just I'd forgotten. Okay. So here, if there must be a material at this point, basically. So I have to discard the material. And actually, I'm not really doing this very well, because I don't even have a discard thing. And I think textures need discarding. Extends resource. Not surprised it's not module text setting control and max anisotropy of interesting. Well, I shouldn't be messing with texture, basically, but it extends resource. I'm just a little bit curious about this now. Well, so should a texture be discarded? It's so strange that this is not a thing I've ever really thought about, but let's just go here and try and think about where on earth I might find such a thing as a resource. Is it in STD? It is. Discard. Well, I think I'll just make a little discard thing. Text equals this. Text set texture 0. This is pretty dodgy the way I'm doing this. I don't really understand it very well. And I should really check and just see what the hell a uniform block is as well. Not that I'll be able to figure it out, but if it extends resource as well, so I guess I will discard the uniform block too. Well, I'm going to do this. Yeah. This is so scrappy, this stuff, really. I don't know how to do it properly, so... method discard. I will say if uniforms discard, and I will say for local t texture equals each in textures if t discard. Okay. This doesn't make the textures. I'm pretty sure it just makes the references. And if the references are null, then I don't want to call discard on a null reference. And I think some of them will be. Oh, I don't know. It sets the texture of textures 0 to the image texture. And this, like, look at this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. I don't, literally sitting here saying I don't know. And I'm not, like, making an effort to find out because I feel like I've got too many other things to do. As long as it does, like, clean up after itself, okay. I have a feeling it probably would anyway. I'll keep them open. So, I will want to say material discard. And then material equals null. This is my way of kind of making myself feel better. Then I want to say that material is loaded. New material. I just forget how I do things all the time. G material. Okay, that's not it at all. Material. I guess it's file name. And the flags. Which I guess will be MIP mapping. I don't think I actually want any other texture flags. When you zoom in on these, I think I want you to see the pixels. I think I will want to see the pixels. Now, after this, there's going to be an update gadgets. Or here, there'll be an update gadgets. Maybe, is it there? Like you click the load button, you get an update gadgets under any circumstances? Nah, only on the inside. Now, in a sense, it should come out of that fine, even if material is null, because I'm going to be checking at all other stages, like when update gadgets is then called. Update gadgets is going to be prepared for there being no material, because when the gadget is first instantiated, there is no material. So that should be fine, even if new G material fails. I said boldly. But actually, what am I doing? Because here is actually where this goes. But that's fine, because it is just exactly this. Did I delete it from here? I did. So it may get, you know, here and have no material, but that's fine. None of these things will be dealt with. Nah, can't do that really. Anyway, doesn't matter. And open latest is going to do something similar, but it's not going to do that. It again is going to rely on one of these things. It's latest pung. So it doesn't need a file requester. Oh, here I better check. Actually, I will just say if material. That's the thing I was thinking. And again, if material. Now that should always be fine to do, because you'll either already be looking at nothing, or you'll be looking at the latest, where you're just reopening it, fine. Or you're looking at another file you've just opened. There's no way there's going to be something here which is not basically saved. The only way that could happen is if you re-render something and you haven't saved the latest. So anyway, and also for my double safety, material equals null, and material equals new G material latest pung. And again, it is texture flags map. So, I guess maybe I should do, well, also I should do update gadgets. But I think that what I'll do is I will say here global T flags texture flags equals texture flags map, and I'll call it default flags, and I will use that. There. There. Got a problem with latest pung? No. Right. So I will leave that there just now as a reminder for something. No, I won't. That's just quite separate. Okay. Show all and scale 1 buttons. Open latest I also don't need. These need to work on the world to scale matrix. No, they need to work on the offset and scale values, and then they need to call update matrices, which is another method I want here. Or just update matrix will do. And I also am going to store screen to world matrix. Oh, I was so ambitious at the end of last time, because that's already 22 minutes. And I realize I'm just going to have to churn through all this. Update matrix is similar to what I've got in work zone, and basically it takes the current offset and scale values and just creates the world to screen and screen to world matrices. And basically every single time I do this I get it wrong. So what I want to imagine is that the image is orientated around the center of the screen. And actually, you know what, I'll do a little bit more than that this just now. I will say field corners. I hate reusing things so much, but it'll have to be like verts. Vertices equals new g vertices 4 and field verts t, and I actually am going to call this v and vt. G vertices equals new g vertices 4. Okay, a little other thing I'm going to do is inside here, when I open, can I get the textures width? That's what I need. And its height. Okay. Let's see. What do I want to do? I want to say local x float equals material get texture, and I think I can just do that because I want 0. Get texture width divided by 2.0 local y float Okay, I'm beginning to see here that I am going to make a little open material bloody or open pung flipping thing. Get texture height divided by 2.0. V set vert 0 comma minus x comma minus y. V set vert 1 comma x comma minus y to x comma y. V set vert 3 minus x comma y. That's the corners of the material stored inside the V vertices. And all of this is common to all of this, except for the file name. And I hastily, oh no I didn't, I've got load pung here. And it consists of this. If material, material discard, material do this, and this is actually P for path. And if not P, return at this point. And material is left null. Otherwise, we do stuff. And now, inside response, I just do file requester pick types. 1 second. Oh yeah, no, I don't have to check anything. It's on save, I do a little check about overwriting. Hey, is there any other reason that these two overlap? No. So this is no longer required. What I really want to do is load pung fn. Yeah? And here I want to load pung latest pung. Now, that has set up the vertices so that inside update matrix I can just do more than update the matrix. I can say, well, you know what, I'm just going to look up, because I always just forget this. Inside work zone, I have something which is update matrix. Yeah, I set it, which just makes it a unit, then I translate it, I scale it, I translate it. Yeah. So I take it to the center of where I'm drawing it. I scale it, then what's that? Project minus display X. Yeah. That's the offset of the worktop. So here I set that translate face. That puts it in the center of the display. Yeah. Okay. So it's set. Add the center of the display. Scale. Subtract the offset. I should just copy this because it's basically exactly the same. Because I'm so sort of lazy. And and it is face left plus face width divided by 2, and this is not, it's not that, it's just a scale, damn it. And this is not offset, it's just minus offset x. And minus offset y. And that's the same as well. But then once I've done those things, what I will also do is I will say world to screen. What is the problem, mate? Offset not found. What did I call it? I called it offset g vector. Oh, that offset. Fair play. Transform vertices in, out. V, comma, vt. Now, wherever the screen is set up and however the zoom is, there are the vertices. Load latest. Don't need that bit. Update gadgets I will come to in a moment. I do need, down at the bottom of here, finish draw and finish resize. I don't much like having them down at the bottom, but that is where they be. If material equals null, return. Wise move. But basically this is the moment the gadget is drawn and I have decided there is material. I want to draw it, and I just want to nab the bit that draws something quick and simple. And that is going to be in somewhere like GUI classes, GUI draw, this. And gadget shader and its material uniforms, blend mode, solid opaque, I think. And now, where does it draw? It draws VT get x 0, sorry, 0. And I think I will just say that is gonna go, okay. My mouse is really quite terrible. And this is going to be get y, it's going to be vertices transformed get y of something. Oh, that's not required, nor that. And that. And these are the texture coordinates. And I think I'm right in saying that it will just start at 0, 0. And I'm going to go like a fan, so then it will be 1, 0, which is the top right of the texture. Then it will be 1, 1. I'm going to have to set call to be white, except 1.0, 1.0. And then this is a second triangle which also starts at 0.0 and 0.0, and it goes straight to 1.0, 1.0, and then comes back down at the bottom right of the texture, then it comes back to 0.0, comma 1.0, which is the bottom left of the texture. And I could just say local call equals gcolor white AV, and that's the baby. Is it okay to... No, there's no such thing as white. I think it's okay just to go straight into gadget here. I'm sure I'm doing it in gradient field draw. Oh, yes. Right. And these things need to be on it. So this is the x of 0. This is the y of 0. This is the x of 1. This is the y of 1. This is the x of 2. And this is the y of 2. This is the x of 0 and the y of 0 again. And this is the x of 1 and the y of 1. And this is the x of 3 and the y of 3. Because I am pretty sure I arranged the points in get matrix, update matrix, not in update matrix. Why is it not there? No, it in load pung. 0, 1, 2, 3 to be top left x, y at minus x, y, top right x, positive x minus y up here, bottom left positive x, positive y, bottom right is positive x, positive y, bottom left negative x, positive y, O in the center. Finish resize. Actually, I don't think I need the finish resize because update matrix does this thing about the face width. I could just say on finish resize update matrix. Okay, save pung. I think I got away with not having that as well. I'm going to rem it out for now because it's only one thing. Yeah. So show all and scale 1. Scale 1 is kind of easy, I think. I basically just set scale equals 1.0. I can update gadgets. Is that really worth it? Update matrix certainly is. Update matrix. Oh man, nearly 40 minutes. Okay. Show all is trickier. It has to look at its face width or height. It has to make a decision about which, it has to take the shape of the material into consideration, look at the face size of the gadget it has, and decide the scale value it needs to set based on the the maximum size it can fit into that shape. And that's not a difficult thing. Somehow I've found myself doing that recently. Yeah, I can remember. It's just a bit of a faff, and I'll have to remember the logic for it. Do I really want to do that just now? I think I do. So basically, what am I saying? I want to think about the width of the texture against the width of... I think what I do is I start out thinking of the width of the texture against the width of the screen. Ah, this was a favourite. And then I have to go through this rigmarole. I am really on the verge of just rubbish. All delete. So whatever the size of the display and this sort of the the ratio of the display, and whatever the size and ratio of the image, it has to fit on the display. And if the image is smaller than the display, it has to be scaled up to fill the display. So what I do is I decide a scale. Here I'm talking through it as if I know. I decide a scale initially that sets the width of the image to the width of the screen, of the display. I decide what do I have to multiply the image by to get the width. The width of the image by to get the width of the screen. Say that the display is 200 units wide, which it might be if there's a bunch open, and the image is 1000 units wide. The scale is going to have to be 0.2 because I want to multiply the, is that right? I want to multiply 1000 by 0.2 to get 200. I will use a calculator. 1000 times 0.2 equals that. 200? Yeah, that'll make it 200 pixels wide. And if I actually know the 200, it's 1000 times 0.2 equals 200. But actually what I want to know is this number. I do what? Divide throughout by 1000. 200 divided by 1000 should equal 0.2. If algebra works, right? Well, if my algebra, I'm going to absolutely check this. I do this stuff all the time. Equals 0.2. No, 200 divided by 100 equals 2, but 200 divided by 1000 equals 0.2. I just closed my calculator like a fool. So if I divide the width of the display by the width of the image, I get a scale which will make the width of the image fit inside the screen. But obviously the problem with that is that set to that scale, if the screen is this shape and the image is this shape, then if I just decide a scale based on the width of the image to the width of the display, then it's going to look like that and you're not going to see everything. So after deciding whether or not after deciding this width scale, I then scale the height by that width and see if it's higher. And if it's higher, then I have to go with a height scale where I divide the display height by the image height. So this is the process, and I will just make some variables. Width float equals, well, how am I going to do the sums? Let me look at it again. So initially I'm looking at display width divided by image width for a scale. So I can get the display width easily, then I can divide it by the image width. So really what I just want is scale. Maybe I actually just want it to totally just start with local new scale, say float equals the face width, self face width, I'll say, to make it totally explicit. It's like this own gadget's face width divided by the material's texture width. maybe I should say the float. I know that all the gadget sizes are in floats. So that's the new scale. So now I say if material get texture height, and I will say float again, is multiplied by the new scale is greater than self face height, then new scale equals jinka dinka diggla dinka diggla dinka dink equals the self face height divided by the float of material get texture height. And I don't need to bother well, I will make this correct for starters, and I will divvy this up seeing as it's a longish line on this low-res screen. And update matrix. Material equals get texture. Am I getting hungry? Height times new scale is greater than self face height. And so if the width is smaller than the screen, like if the image is smaller than the screen, then you will get it'll be scaled up. And then if it is, if that pushes it off the top, then it will be scaled down again. Okay, I think that is okay. Except, of course, I don't need to say this. I can just go straight for scale. It's just a number. And I think that's okay. Now, okay, so update gadgets. If not, or if material equals null. I'm getting on and beyond myself here. Yeah, 48 minutes. I'm going to stop. What is going on though? Basically, it's coming along. If material equals null, something is going to happen. Otherwise, something else is going to happen. This is coming along. I know that it's just such a... all I'm doing... I mean, I say all I'm doing is try to display an image. I'm really not. I'm trying to display an image inside a gadget that I don't know the size of, and offering a functionality to save copies of that image, load new images, load a particular image, and scroll and scale the image. And I'm about to get to the bit, once I've done update gadgets, then there's actually another method which is going to come, I think, well, I guess it's going to come after update gadgets, and it is the work method, which I think is void and is a member of gadget. And it will be called when my mouse, well, it's often called, but one of the times it's called is when the mouse is over the gadget. And that will be the little bit that I use for sensing when the mouse button is held down, when the middle mouse button is held down for scrolling, and the right mouse button for zooming, and the right mouse button for zooming will change when I get a better mouse. Back to mouse wheel to zoom. for the meantime, I will continue with the update gadgets method next time.